Good morning, everyone. So, in the last lecture, we were seeing the failure of classical mechanics, and we have done till 3. How the classical mechanics could not be explained, the stability of atom, the line spectrum of hydrogen atom, and the blackbody radiations. Now, we'll start with the point 4. Now, this point 4 says that specific heat of solids and their variation with temperature. Now, according to classical physics, the specific heat of solid is independent of temperature and is constant equal to 3R, where R is the universal gas constant. So Cv is equal to 3R. This relation is called the Dulong-Petit's law and shows that specific heat of solid is 5.97 kilocalorie per kilomole per Kelvin and is independent of temperature. However, the specific heat of solids is not independent of temperature. It is basically directly proportional to the cube of the temperature, which is also known as the T cube law or the Debye law. You have this derivation in your syllabus in your second book, which is solid state physics. We'll derive the specific heat of solids using the Dulong-Pettit law, using the Einstein theory, and also using the T cube law. And we'll see that in T cube law, which is purely quantum mechanical law, in that law we'll see the specific heat is not constant. However, it is temperature dependent. So these are some failures of classical mechanics, which basically leads towards the new branch of physics, which is known as the quantum physics. The need of quantum physics appears because of the microscopic particles, like how to study the microscopic particles and why this difference is there, why classical physics cannot explain microscopic particles using the Newton laws of motion. It is simply because of, you have already studied in your 12th that lambda is equal to h upon p, where lambda is the wavelength of the wave associated with the particle. P is the momentum of the particle, which is equal to mass into velocity. So wavelength is inversely proportional to momentum, or wavelength is inversely proportional to mass and inversely proportional to velocity as well. Now in classical physics, the mass of the particle is large since it is a macroscopic particle. So the wavelength of the wave associated with the particle will be very small since lambda and m are inversely proportional. So for a macroscopic particle, there is no need of a wave attached to the particle or associated with the particle. It can purely be explained using Newton's laws, and we can say that momentum and energy both are continuous in case of classical physics. However, in microscopic particles, if we have very small particles of the size of atom, electron, proton, then in that case, what we know, the mass of electron is 9.1 into 10 raised to power minus 31 kg, which is very small. So obviously the wavelength associated with this particle is large, using the relation lambda is equal to h upon m into v, where h is the Planck's constant. So if m is small, lambda is higher. If m is higher, lambda is small. So if m is small, lambda is higher. So for an electron or for any microscopic particle, there is a wavelength associated with that particle. We cannot neglect the dual nature of particle. A particle is behaving, sorry, or you can say what is de Broglie relation. It basically says that every moving material particle is associated with a wave character also. If we have a particle which is in motion, then there is a wave associated with that particle. If the size of the particle is very large, in that case, the wavelength associated with the particle can be neglected, which is the classical case. Now, if the size of a particle is very small, then the wavelength associated with the particle cannot be neglected, which is the quantum case. So because of this wavelength, this normal Newton's laws of motion gets failed. To explain such particles, a new theory is required. Now, this theory This quantum theory was first proposed by Max Planck. So our next topic is Planck's quantum theory of radiation, which is also known as old quantum theory. This is the first quantum theory of radiation which was proposed. Now, this quantum theory was proposed to study the black body radiation spectrum. Max Planck proposed quantum theory of radiation to explain the distribution of energy in black body spectrum when classical mechanics failed to explain it. You don't need to have to do this derivation. This derivation is not in your syllabus. You can directly see this equation 1.01 and 1.08. 1.07 is the expression of the average energy in the form of frequency. 1.08 is the energy emitted in the wavelength range lambda to lambda plus d lambda in terms of wavelength. This equation is known as Planck's radiation law in terms of wavelength, and it fits with the experimental curve very well over the entire range of wavelength. So when Planck tried to explain black body spectrum using the quantum laws, in the quantum laws, what he has considered, he considered that the energy of a particle is not continuous, it is discrete and equal to h into nu, directly proportional to h into mu, or E is equal to nh nu. Using this expression of energy, he derived this relation, and in this relation, it was seen that it matches very well with the experimental curve over all of the wavelengths. Thus, Planck's quantum theory correctly explains the distribution of energy in blackbody spectrum, which could not be explained by the classical theory. It can be concluded from this theory that radiations are emitted and absorbed in the form of discrete packets of energies, and these radiations do not form continuous spectra. The energy emitted by the black body is not continuous, it is discrete packets of energies. Now, it should be noted that Planck's quantum theory was proposed to explain the distribution of energy in black body spectrum, but due to its success, it was later on used to explain the different phenomena which could not be explained using the classical theory, such as photoelectric effect, Compton effect, specific heat of solids, and its temperature dependence, line spectrum of hydrogen, and so on. In this book, we'll study, or in this unit only, we'll study photoelectric effect and Compton effect in detail, which is very, very important from your examination point of view. This specific heat of solids and its temperature dependence, we'll study in solid state physics. Once we'll over with the quantum mechanics, then we'll start with solid state physics. And in the last unit, you will study this derivation, which is also very important from your examination point of view. So after this, the next topic is the characteristic or properties of photons. Now, what is a photon? You all know a photon is a quanta of light. Like we have phonon. Phonon is a quanta of lattice vibrations. Photon is a quanta of light vibrations. We say this is a particle which actually forms a radiation. That radiation can be light, can be. Now, what are the properties of photons? Photons are the indivisible packets of energy of electromagnetic radiations. Now, what is indivisible? Indivisible means it cannot be divided or split into smaller pieces. Okay, next, they retain their identity until completely absorbed. Example in photoelectric effect or in pair production. Pair production में क्या होता है? Photon जो है, it gets split up into two, electron and positron. Now, third, the energy of a photon is directly proportional to its frequency. E is equal to h nu. This relation is very important. Energy of a photon is equal to h nu. This relation you will use in the numericals as well. E is equal to h nu. Now next, we all know that in vacuum, photons travel with the speed of light. So photon is not a normal particle, it is a relativistic particle. We have two types of particles, non-relativistic and relativistic. Non-relativistic particles are those which travels with the speed very less than speed of light. Relativistic particles are those particles which travel nearly with the speed of light. So photons are the relativistic particles. In your mechanics, you must have studied this relation E square is equal to P square C square plus M naught square C4. Now this is the relation which is for the relativistic particle. Now photons, they have zero rest mass. M naught is the rest mass of photon, so it is zero. So E is equal to Pc. So if E is the energy of a photon, then the momentum of a photon will be equal to E upon C, where E is equal to h nu, that we know. So P is equal to h nu upon C is the momentum of a photon. This we'll use in the Compton effect. In Compton, if the Compton effect provides an evidence of the existence of the momentum of a photon. Now, if there is a momentum, then there has to be some effective mass. Now, momentum is mass into velocity. So m is equal to P upon C. P is the momentum, C is the velocity of photon, which is equal to speed of light, m is the mass of photon, and P is equal to h nu upon C. So the effective mass of a photon becomes h nu upon C square. So the energy of a photon is h nu, momentum of a photon is h nu upon C, rest mass of photon is 0, effective mass of photon is h nu upon C square. Photons are electrically neutral. They cannot be deflected by electric and magnetic fields. Photons have no antiparticles. What is the meaning of no antiparticles? Like electron has an antiparticle which is positron. Electron is negatively charged, positron is positively charged. But photons, they are neutral. They do not have any antiparticles. So after this, so hope now, so first now we'll summarize what we have done till now. First, we have seen what is classical physics, what is quantum physics, the difference between classical and quantum physics. Classical deals with macroscopic particles, quantum deals with microscopic particles. Newton's laws of motions explain macroscopic particles very well. The energy and momentums both are continuous, while they fail to explain microscopic particles, because for microscopic particles, the wavelength associated with the wave cannot be neglected. So there are some phenomena which could not be explained using classical physics, that is stability of atom, line spectrum of hydrogen atom, black body radiations, temperature dependence of specific heat of solids, etc., etc. Then we have seen, if the classical mechanics fails, then how we can use quantum theory to explain such phenomena. The first quantum theory, which is also known as the old quantum theory, was given by Max Planck in order to study the black body radiation spectra. This law matches very well with the experimental results. So this law was further used to explain the further phenomena which could not be explained by classical laws like photoelectric effect, Compton effect, and so on. What is basically used here, that we have a particle, photon, which has not the continuous energy but the discrete energy equal to h nu. Then we have seen the different properties of photons. Okay, photons, they show dual nature, particle nature as well as wave nature. Once we'll study the photoelectric effect or Compton effect, we say photons, they behave as particles. When we study interference, diffraction, polarization, etc., then we say that photon behave as a wave. So photons, they have dual character. So these are quantum particles, not classical particles. So now, after knowing the basics of quantum mechanics, we'll now start with our first main topic of Unit 1, which is photoelectric effect. Okay, so now we'll study with photoelectric effect in the next lecture.